Morning everybody! I hope you enjoyed yesterday's video. We talked about depression a little bit, and I got a comment from an old friend actually that I haven't talked to in a while, and he said I should talk about early signs of depression, how to deal with depression, and how to help with depression. Real quick, before I go into that, I actually got hit up on Twitter by a really cool guy. This was pretty incredible for me. We actually talked about depression for a while, and he kind of became my friend. That was a really incredible experience. So thank you, you know who you are. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. You're the man, and I love you. So guys, one of the early symptoms of depression is obviously always feeling sad, but it's more than that. It's like always feeling this kind of hopelessness and emptiness. Actually, a lot of the time you'll kind of find yourself crying for like no reason. You don't really know what's going on. You can't control your negative thoughts. A lot of the time you'll also feel guilty. You'll feel weak and useless. A lot of the time you'll be over self-critical. You'll feel helplessness and worthlessness. Guys, another one is irritability. Now this is a big one for me. I was so irritable. Like I could just get set off like that. Any like small thing, my mom would say, it would just make me mad. Just like small stuff that normally like you can kind of toss out the window and be like whatever. Irritability is a big one. A lot of the time it'll set you off and you don't really know why. You're just, you know, maybe it's like a sound or someone said something that shouldn't really matter but it did. So guys, mental symptoms are another one. It's like you have trouble making decisions and remembering small details can be pretty hard. A lot of time people with depression have a lot of physical problems too. So like aches and pains, like headaches, stomach problems, digestive problems. Loss of energy is another big one. Loss of pleasurable activities such as sex, hobbies, and social interactions. And like I said in my last video, it can also lead to you kind of not taking care of yourself. The next one is sleep changes. I think this was a big one for me. A lot of the time I had a really hard time falling asleep even though I was tired. Like I was so tired, but I could never fall asleep. I also had a lot of appetite changes. I wasn't eating near as much as I used to be, and when I was eating it wasn't regularly. And the last one is suicidal thoughts and self-harm. I've been through this too. Yes, these are also part of depression. These are two of the more like really serious problems though. So those are some of the signs of depression. I'm actually going to talk about how to help with depression and how to deal with depression now off my head. I think how to help with depression, I kind of said it in my last video. If you guys know anyone that is depressed, just be a good friend to them or a good family member. A lot of the time all we need is someone just to like listen to us and help us when we're feeling down. Not necessarily to understand our point of view and where we're coming from, because people who don't have depression will have a hard time really understanding what we're going through. More so just to be there and just try to comfort us, to know we're not alone. I think a big one is never criticize a person with depression and tell them that you have it way better than some of the people around the world. I've been told that and it just makes me feel more guilty about my situation and what's going on in my life. Now I'm going to talk about handling depression in my own way and how I did it and how I'm still dealing with it. Obviously I'm on medication. I think having a routine and knowing what you're going to do for that day is a big part. If you know what you're going to do and you have lots of activities throughout that day, including work or just going out with friends, your mind is going to be less focused on the negatives and more with what you're doing. So guys, I actually also see a counselor as well. He's the coolest guy ever. I love talking to him. I think with depression, it's really good to talk about how you're feeling and what you're experiencing, especially with a professional. They can always give great advice and help you out. Guys, journaling or poetry or writing, that is huge. I used to journal every day and I don't anymore, but I really should. I used to journal every single day, and there is no limits on your journal. It's whatever you want it to be. For me, when I journaled, it's whatever came to my head, I put it down. I remember one time I was journaling and I was using a crappy keyboard. And I was just really upset because I kept on misclicking because the keys were so easy to press down, so I just kept on misclicking. And I got mad, so I smashed the keyboard and I just put a bunch of letters down, and that stayed in my journal because that was going through my head. There was no rules to journaling. It is whatever you want it to be. It's your journal. Music is, I think, the biggest part for me. I listen to music all day long. I don't know where I'd be without music, honestly. So I write a lot of lyrics to music too. And that was kind of like going along with the journaling or poetry. It just really gets your feelings down on paper and you can like reread it and like kind of helps you understand your feelings as well. I think physical activity is another big one because it helps produce the serotonin in your mind. So if you can get out and go for a run or, pump some iron like my brother does, those kind of activities will really help out. Now, as hard as it is to do this, try your hardest not to overthink and overanalyze the problems. I do this all the time. I'm guilty of it all the time. It will kind of make the problems worse and you'll just spiral out of control even if you're worrying about something that shouldn't really be worried about. I think that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you, Mitchell, for leaving that comment in my comment section. I appreciate it. Guys, if you want to comment down below and leave a like, let me know what I should talk about next. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback and get more responses in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and keep it classy.